On behalf of the board of the Philippine Bayanihan Society in Singapore, I welcome you to the Bayanihan Center. The Bayanihan Center has opened its doors to support the educational, social and cultural needs of Filipinos and others in Singapore. Thanks to the strong partnership between the government of the Philippines and Singapore and the initiative of our founding president, Ms. Jenny Chua, and Vice President, Mr. Ning de Guzman. Since its establishment in 2001, more than 13,500 people have undergone skills training at the Bayanihan Center. But the Bayanihan Center is located at 43 Pasir Panjang Road. It provides classrooms, facilities and support for volunteers and community groups to conduct various short-term courses including basic and advanced computer training, nursing aid, hotel and restaurant management, dressmaking, caregiving, cooking, baking and cosmetology. To foster the socio-cultural ties between Filipinos and Singaporeans, we also organize the Bayanihan Walk. It is an annual event to bring together people from all across sectors of Singapore in a fun walkathon to promote integration of Filipinos with the Singaporean community. Tara na mak, Bayanihan Center na.
Good evening to all our viewers. Good evening to all our viewers here in Singapore and across the globe. Greetings to you, our friends and partners and supporters. Here's wishing everyone a happy New Year and hopefully a much better year for all of us this year. Welcome to the much anticipated Bayanihan Talks webinar series. I am Minerva Lau, member of the board of the Philippine Bayanihan Society Singapore, and your host tonight. We sincerely hope you are all keeping safe and well wherever you are. And I hope you have enjoyed the short video giving you a peek of what the Philippine Bayanihan Society is all about and what it does. It is a non-profit organization and all the directors are volunteers who cares for the OFWs in Singapore. Indeed, the Bayanihan Society cares. And tonight, our topic is all about ourselves, how we can take care of ourselves, not just physically, but also mentally and emotionally. How much do we know ourselves and how aware are we of our own traits and quality? I myself can truthfully say I don't know 100% of myself. So hopefully we can get some answers from our very special guest speaker tonight. Before we proceed, I'd like to invite PBSS Honorary President, Attorney Ranveer Kumar Singh, to deliver his welcome remarks. Attorney Ranveer, the floor is yours.
Right, thank you, Minnie. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, a very happy New Year and very good evening to all of you. On behalf of the Philippine Bayanihan Society, I warmly welcome you to this webinar on the topic of understanding self-awareness and self-preservation for effective presentation, organized by the Bayanihan Society under the label of Bayanihan Talks web series. You have just seen a short clip of the video on the Bayanihan Society and its activities. Let me just tell you a little bit more. The society was established 20 years ago in the year 2001. Since then, the Bayanihan Society has been a platform for the provision of educational, social, and cultural activities for Filipinos in Singapore. You just had a snippet view of some of those activities on the clip. Through its various activities undertaken every year, the Bayanihan Society fosters a better appreciation and deeper understanding of both Filipino and Singaporean languages, arts, and culture, and also strengthens bonds of friendship between the peoples. COVID-19 pandemic, which has been prevailing since 2020, disrupted in-person activities of the Bayanihan Society, but it did not prevent the society from holding its activities in a different format. Most activities were simply migrated to the online delivery, nor did the COVID-19 pandemic prevent the society from starting new initiatives. In fact, since the pandemic, the society has launched 3 new initiatives. The first is a Bayanihan Talk webinar series, which you are attending. The second, that was done in 2020. The second activity that was launched was last year under the banner of Bayanihan Kultura. And the third one was sometime at the end of last year under the umbrella of Bayanihan Education web series. The Bayanihan Talk web series, the purpose of that is to engage the community and to discuss and bring speakers on topics which are topical interest that will be of interest to our constituency. Today, well, we are very happy and very grateful to have Ms. Pinky Amador as our speaker for the topic which I mentioned. I wish you a very fruitful and enjoyable time during this webinar. Do look out for more information from the Society's website on its activities, and I invite you to sign up and participate in all those activities. Thank you and have a nice evening.
Thank you very much, Attorney Ranveer, for the welcome remarks and a brief background of how we started doing our Bayanihan webinars. Thank you so much. I am now delighted to invite our Consul General in the Philippine Embassy in Singapore, Mr. Adrian Bernie Candolada, to share his inspirational message as we start a new year. Conjen, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you, Minnie. To all the board members of and staff of the Philippine Bayanihan Center, Singapore. To our speaker this evening, Ms. Pinky Amador, to all our participants. Maraming salamat po and good evening. It is a great pleasure for me to welcome you all on behalf of Ambassador Joseph Del Maria to another year of the Bayanihan Talks webinar series with a wellness session done in collaboration with Amador Creative Concepts. Often we hear people say that we cannot give if our vessel is empty. And the start of the year is the best time to take a deep breath and give ourselves a moment before we dive into a whole year of activities, which are even made more challenging with the health situation that we are facing right now. This webinar, I think, encourages us to do some self-introspection. It is something we need to do to be more confident about ourselves, about our ability to contribute meaningfully to our community and to our society. It is when we know our strengths that we can hone and use them to our advantage. It is also when we acknowledge our weaknesses that we know where to focus our efforts for improvement. It is when we have the ability to see ourselves clearly that we can be more confident in what we can give, and thus we can be more effective as workers, or as managers, as parents, or as friends. Through this, we can have a stronger foundation through personal and work relationships that we build every day. I am no expert in this field, and thus I should turn it over to someone who has a wealth of experience. We welcome Ms. Pinky Amador, who will provide us with the proper guidance and insights on the topic tonight. Allow me, of course, to thank PBSS for always being ready to partner with the Philippine Embassy in all our activities and projects, and we look forward to another fruitful and productive year with you. And with that, I wish you all a great and productive evening. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Paul, very much. Thank you very much, Paul, Conjen, Bernie, for that very meaningful message. Indeed, we need time to reflect, and now is a good time to do so at the beginning of the year. So thank you so much. May I now call on PBSS Secretary Mary Ann Chua to introduce and talk more about our special guest speaker. Mary Ann, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Minnie. Good evening, everybody. Indeed, we are very privileged to have with us a multi-awarded actress, Miss Pinky Amador, as our speaker for this evening. Miss Pinky Amador has a master's degree from the Bristol Old Vic Theatre School in England. As a performer, she has essayed hundreds of roles on TV, film, and stage. She was part of the original West End cast of Miss Saigon in London. Having received Best Actress awards 3 times, she has been elevated to the Hall of Fame. As an educator, she was the department head of the theater arts at Meridian International School, where she devised the course, trained teachers, and mentored students. If you are a fan of Netflix, then you are in for a treat, because currently there are several films on Netflix that feature her. Love or Money, Four Sisters Before the Wedding, and Love at First Stream, which is an official entry to the 2021 Metro Manila Film Festival. Miss Pinky Amador is a well sought after vocal and acting coach, as well as a public speaker in Powerhouse Open Talk Wellness. Indeed, tonight we are very privileged to have her, and she will be sharing with us understanding self-awareness and self-preservation for effective presentation. Can we now invite Miss Pinky Amador to start the sharing? Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, this is Pinky Amador and I am your speaker for today. Welcome to today's wellness talk entitled Self-Awareness is Self-Preservation and Effective Presentation. I look forward to collaborating with you and navigating to finding out a little more about yourself, perhaps others, and maybe about life in general. Because that's what effective presentation and performance are really all about. It starts with knowing oneself. And what exactly are we presenting and performing? Stories. Stories about the human condition. So in effect, we become storytellers. For thousands of years, humanity has been fascinated with the power of storytelling. It expresses who we are, what our dreams and fears may be, and it also gives the rest of the world a glimpse into another person's situation and even life through someone else's eyes. By doing that, by successfully presenting our stories and points of view with each other, we begin to open up our worldview, have more understanding for one another, and more importantly, have empathy for other people. And that, for me, is why effective self-presentation is so important, because it makes a storytelling come alive and it also makes it more compelling. So during the exercises, and there will be a few, I encourage you all to take an honest account of yourselves, all your strengths and weaknesses, and together we can try to discover how to turn these characteristics to your advantage. All that matters is that you are aware of where you are, accept it, and strive to try to find a creative solution towards your goals of effective self-presentation. So without further ado, let's start. Hello everyone, this is
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you so much. My name is Pinky Amador, and I am so thankful and very excited to be with you today. So first of all, I would like to thank the Philippine Bayanihan Society Singapore and my house, Health and Wellness family, for having me here tonight. We'd also like to acknowledge the presence of the PBSS President, Attorney Ranveer Kumar, and of course, our Consul General, Attorney Bernie. Thank you for being with us here tonight. So I'm very happy to be on my fourth collaborative project between Amador Creative Concepts and Health and Wellness Solutions. I have been a regular guest speaker of theirs in their health and wellness webinar series. So as a creative entrepreneur, my main goal always as a facilitator, a moderator, or a mentor is always to create a safe space whenever I do any of my workshops. So how do we start? We start with self-awareness. Self-awareness is described as the quality or trait that involves conscious awareness of one's thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and attitudes. In essence, being self-aware is the ability to recognize and accept yourself for your external and internal existence. Or sa Tagalog, ang kamalayan natin sa sarili ay ang kalidad o katangian na nagsasanggot ng mulat na kamalayan sa sariling pag-iisip, damdamin, pag-uugali. Ayan, ang kamalayan sa sarili ay ang kakayahan na kilalanin at tanggapin ang iyong pagkatao para sa iyong panlabas at panloob na pag-iiral. Okay, so self-awareness, or I'd like to call it self-compassion, affects virtually everything that we do. From the minute we wake up, mula sa pagkagising natin, when we awake until makatulog na tayo, our awareness decides all our thoughts and actions. Experts believe that the relationship we have with ourselves shapes our daily experiences in a huge way. If, for example, we do not accept ourselves for who we are, and di ba, kadalasan we always feel that we're not enough. Kulang, lagi tayong may pagkukulang. To reach a certain standard, then certainly we are setting ourselves up for disappointment. So, when dealing with life's disappointments, and lahat po tayo, meron yan, wala pong exempt dyan, every person on this earth has disappointments in life, we need to go deeper into self-awareness and practice self-compassion. So self-compassion involves treating the self with care and concern when considering personal inadequacies. Ayan na yung ating mga pagkakamali. Minsan we have our little failures, and of course, all of us have painful life situations. Ika nga tao lang tayong lahat. Lahat tayo ay may pagkukulang, pero maaari nating gamitin ang mga iyon para maiangat ang ating sarili. So you may ask, why is an actress educator like myself talking about understanding self-awareness and self-preservation for effective presentation? Because po, lahat ng aming mga gabay, the tools that we need to study the human condition, our emotions, our triggers, our aspirations and dreams, when we portray characters on stage and screen, this is what we use. We start our journey of discovering ourselves and the stories we want to tell. We need to practice social-emotional learning. Ayan po. You can see on your screen, there's that circle with 5 elements. So social-emotional learning is a process through which we acquire and effectively apply the knowledge, attitudes, and skills necessary for 5 things. Number 1 is to understand and manage emotions. We need to do this every single waking moment. Set and achieve positive goals. Feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain positive relationships, and make responsible decisions. So we as performers, and in fact, all human beings, need to master these 5 elements in order to effectively communicate and tell our stories. So let's start with the first exercise. I would like to encourage you po to, if you're here in our Zoom meeting, you can message me, excuse me, privately in the chat so that your identity is hidden from all the other people in the Zoom meeting. And if you're on Facebook, we will also try to read out your contributions today. So let's start. So for exercise number 1 po, it's about self-awareness, or I'd like to call it self-compassion. This is our exercise number 1. So recall a situation that you are having difficulty with at the moment or recently. And then I want you to suggest to me to come up with at least one self-compassion action for each of these. So let's start the ball rolling. For comforting, what is the one thing that you can do to take care of your emotional needs? We all need to do this, diba? Ano yung maaari nating gawin para mapangalagaan ang ating mga nararamdaman? Okay, and then the second item here is soothing. What is the one thing that you can do to make yourself feel physically calmer and more at ease? Ayan, marami tayong mga ginagawa, di ba? Para ika nga oh ate, huwag ka masyadong tense, kalma ka lang. Okay, we have something here in our chat. Step back and look at the situation in a different perspective. Ayan, very good. Of course, when the situation allows, it's always best to be able to hinay-hinay ng konti, preno nga, ika nga muna, and then look at the situation. And then the third item here I have, if you could give me an example for validating. What is the one thing that you can say to yourself to validate your feelings? Very guilty tayong lahat dito, di ba? Sarili na natin, pinagne-negative talk back natin. Sarili mo na nga kausap mo, ninenega mo pa. Iwasan po natin yan. So, okay, do we have, okay, thank you po. Okay, we have Jocelyn Balaba. Hi po, watching. Good evening sa inyong lahat. Okay, so, and then there's another message here. Okay lang to choose your battles. Ako, ginagawa ko rin yan. Minsan, naku, wag mo na lang munang papansinin yung mga nakakairita kasi sometimes we have to focus on something that is really more important. So I'm going to go on to our next slide for exercise number 2. Okay, so within the same situation, we are now going to come up with examples for self-awareness or self-compassion, right? Okay, let me just take that down and close the message. Okay, what for protecting? What is the one thing that you can do to stop others that are hurting you or to stop the harm that you are inflicting on yourself? Kadalasan, minsan sarili talaga natin ang pinagbabangayan natin ng mga negative thoughts, blame, victim mentality. Minsan sarili na natin na dapat ng ating katunggali, sarili pa nating inaaway, di ba? Okay, and then for the second aspect, in providing, what is the one thing you can do to give yourself what you need? What are some examples that you can do to give yourself what you need? Kasi kadalasan inuuna na, lalong-lalo na sa mga nanay natin, for the women in the households, it's so common na inuuna lagi ang iba. Inuuna ang asawa, ang anak, ang mga kasama sa trabaho, lalong-lalo na yung mga ating mga kababayan who are working as OFWs, di ba? Minsan nakakalimutan na natin pangalagaan ang sarili natin. And then for motivating, how do you think? I love this one. How can you motivate yourself with kindness, support, understanding, rather than criticism? Ayan, di ba? Kasi nga, yung negative talk, sometimes we are our own worst critics, and I'm certainly very guilty of this. Sometimes I have to remind myself, teka muna, I tried naman my best. Or there is always another opportunity to do better. Diba? Okay, now that you've given me some examples of for the exercise, I would like to give you some of my suggestions for self-preservation or self-care on the emotional level. Ito, number 1. Learn to say no. Hindi ba kaugalian na siguro natin yung mga Pilipino? We are always people pleasers. Hanggat maaari, ayaw nating na napapahiya ang kaharap natin, ang kasama natin, ang katrabaho natin. But sometimes we have to really set our boundaries and learn to say no, but nicely. Another suggestion I have here is to intentionally schedule me time on your calendar or planner. Ayan nga yung sinasabi ko, kadalasan inuunan lagi natin ang ibang tao at hinuhuli natin ang sarili natin. Minsan wala na pong natitira for ourselves. So we always need to try to make time for ourselves. And then this is one of my favorites. Reward yourself for completing small tasks. Minsan, nako, ang favorite ko yan, di ba? At the start of the day or the day before, you make your to-do list. Teka muna, ang haba-haba na ng aking to-do list. Tapos, kinagabihan na, parang wala pa akong kalahati sa aking to-do list. But at least for me, I tell myself, at least may nagawa na ako. Ayan, meron pa tayo here on Facebook. Positive self-talk, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, with mindset of forward positive, deep breaths, slow down, decide to move to speed with a smile. Thank you so much for that, Mr. John Rosado. Sorry, late ko nabasa ang iyong comment, but that is an excellent, excellent advice. And then another one that I have just been practicing because I have just been gifted with some essential oils, develop a relaxing evening ritual. Ika nga, di ba, ang ating katawan ay parang makina. So pag panahon na para magpahinga, dapat unti-unti na rin nating binabawasan ang mental activity, emotional activity, physical activity, so that we can wind down and practice having an evening ritual. And then another one is allow yourself to feel and express all of your feelings, but in a safe and appropriate environment. Kasi nga naman, hindi lahat ng panahon ay masasabi natin. I have another suggestion here, down-regulate at night and wind down. Yes, okay. And then I'm certainly so guilty of this last one. Stop being your harshest critic. Allow yourself to make mistakes. Ika nga, tao lang talaga tayo. I guess as long as you think and feel and know that you have tried your best, I think that's enough because there's always tomorrow. Ika nga. Okay, so now moving on to how we can do self-care in the physical realm. Do some stretching exercises, take a walk, drink more water. Nako, kaya ako lagi akong merong water bottle. I try to finish 3 of them in a day. Exhaust yourself physically. I like doing this. Do whatever helps you feel fatigued. Kasi pag napagod ko na yung sarili ko physically, napakahimbing ng tulog ko. The next day, I feel more refreshed. Get a massage. Of course, favorite natin yan lahat. But with alert level number 3 dito sa Pilipinas and wherever you may be in the world, kailangan meron tayong health and safety protocols na pinapractice. Then go out and spend 10 minutes under the sun. Lahat ng mga vitamins, di ba? Especially with the pandemic raging, we need our vitamins from the sun. Spend some time in nature. And going to bed early. Yung mga mahilig manood ng Netflix dyan, nako, kailangan mag-start kayo manood ng Netflix earlier, 1 hour earlier than usual so that you can go to bed early. Okay, next, we have social. This is how we interact with others. What can we do to help us have self-preservation or practice self-care on a social level? Avoid toxic people. Yan ang number 1 ko. Napakahirap minsan gawin, but sometimes, again, we're talking about boundaries. Sometimes if avoiding them may help you get on with what you have to do for the rest of the day. And then number 2, ask for help. Naku, minsan, feeling natin, gusto na nating ipasan ang buong daigdig. Gusto nating kayanin lahat ng problema, but there is absolutely nothing wrong with asking help from your colleagues, from your boss, from your siblings, from your family members, from your good friends. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And if they cannot help you, at least you tried, right? It's, for me, it's the fact that you're going out and doing something about helping yourself. Okay. Another one is, especially now during the pandemic, intentionally reconnect with someone you've lost touch with or have an unresolved conflict with. We can do a lot of this online. Hindi naman kailangan face-to-face lahat. Nandiyan naman ang ating mga social media platforms where we can keep touch with our schoolmates before, with mga barkada natin dati. Ayan, how to avoid, may tanong dito, how to avoid a toxic friend. Nako, napakahirap niyan. I would say, try to, if you have the opportunity na mapadaplis o mapahapyaw man lang na sabihin sa kanila na perhaps you're busy or you have many things on your plate. Especially now, many of us are working from home or doing a hybrid work setup. Siguro naman maintindihan nila na meron kang ibang pinaglalaanan ng panahon, lalo na ngayong panahon ng pandemya, meron ding ibang nangangailangan sa'yo. So if you can tell that to them in a very kind way, that might be helpful, and that might help them feel not left out. Ayan. Call a trusted friend or family member and talk things out. Madalas natin yang gawin, hindi ba? Lalo na tayong mga Pilipinong, gustong-gusto natin yang gawin. Puwera chismis, ha? Helping each other. Ayan. Iwas tayo sa chismis. Schedule a regular date night. Ayan, sa mga ating mga nanunood who have significant others or a partner. It doesn't have to be face-to-face, you know. There are a lot of Zoom dates happening, right? You can talk to each other on social media or on your iPhones, or there are so many ways to reconnect with people now, albeit it's online. Syempre, it's nothing like being face-to-face with someone, but there are opportunities. And then the last one here is take a road trip with your siblings, of course, if the health and safety protocols allow you to travel. And then on our last but not the least, self-preservation or self-care in the spiritual sense. So number one is another favorite of mine. Make time for meditation or prayer in your day. Ako, ang favorite time ko is to try to meditate in the morning. Pero kadalasan, minsan pag nagmamadali ka or you have a very early day or ubusan ka ng oras, if I cannot do it in the morning, I try to do it in the evening, no? It's what I call my emotional check-in, right? Or syempre, bago tayo matulog, maganda rin na isipin natin kung what happened to us during the day. Are there things that we need to pay more attention to? Are there ways that we could have handled our day better? So practicing self-introspection, practicing mindfulness about how our day went is also very, very important. This is another favorite of mine. Do something nice for someone in secret. Hindi po ba ang sarap ng pakiramdam when you can help someone and they have no idea who did it, and there you are, like really, really happy. Sometimes yung tulong na naibibigay natin sa iba doesn't even take a lot from us. Pero sa kanila, napakalaking bagay. And of course, we all know that it is in helping others that we really can boost up our happiness quotient in life. Donate money to a charity of your choosing. Alam naman natin, ngayong panahon ng pandemya at panahon din ng maraming especially in Visayas and Mindanao, we have many, many people who are suffering currently from Typhoon Odette. Marami pong nangangailangan ng tulong natin. So if you can afford it, why not try to donate? And of course, Bayanihan Society is an NGO. So a lot of you are already practicing this in your daily lives. Help someone in some way. Find an opportunity to use your strengths, the things that energize you more often. What things energize you? Would it be singing? Would it be reading a favorite book? Would it be playing a game, whether it's online or with your friends? Okay. Cooking. Ayan, I have a message here. Cooking. Cooking is so relaxing, especially now we have a lot of time to spend at home. We can cook ourselves a good meal. And if you're doing that special date night, It doesn't have to be in a fancy restaurant. You can cook yung paboritong ulam ng partner nyo or yung paborito nyong ulam mismo just to brighten up your day or your evening. Okay, so now we're going to move into, we talked about self-awareness, and we've also spoken about self-preservation. I'd like now to move on to effective presentation, or how do we present our best selves? So it is described, effective presentation is any self-presentation rather is any behavior or action made with the intention to influence or change how other people see you. Ayan. Anytime we're trying to get people to think of us in a certain way, it is an act of self-presentation. Generally speaking, we work to present ourselves as favorably as possible. Syempre, wala namang, di ba nga yan ang tinatawag nating best foot forward, especially like in job interviews, right? What that means can vary depending on the situation and the other person. It's natural that we want others to see us as confident, competent, likable, especially in work, di ba? Even if we don't necessarily feel that way all the time. In fact, we make dozens of decisions every day, whether consciously or unconsciously, to get people to see us the way we want to be seen. Then again, my question is this kind of self-presentation then dishonest? Like you're presenting yourself as happy, but you feel like crying inside? Or shouldn't we be ourselves and try to be what people call authentic? Successful or effective presentation requires interacting with other people. Although we can never really control how people react to us, we can think about how others might see us and make the choices about what we want to convey. This means we have to make some effort on our part of getting out of our comfort zone, a place where we feel we will not be criticized or judged. This is in our privacy or in our familiarity. So how do we do this? Ayan. What is strategic self-presentation then? How we perceive ourselves either in public or in private. These are the three most common ways that we present ourselves on a daily basis. So number one is self-ingratiation, or being charming, or to manipulate how others will perceive you. Ito yung lalong-lalo na sa ating mga Pilipino, di ba? Meron tayong laging lambing. Uy, sige na naman. Baka naman pwedeng i-consider nyo tong offer na to, di ba? Lagi, pwede nating haluan ng lambing yan. Lalong-lalo na kung kailangan natin ng isang bagay. Self-promotion. Ang self-promotion, this means you are focusing on your positive traits. Or sa Tagalog, minsan tinatawag nating pagtataas ng sariling bangko. Kaya nga, ilinagay ko dyan, subtlety is key. There is always a time when it is deemed proper to do so. And then the third is self-verification. As much as possible, we want people to perceive us as how we see others. We want society's perception of us to be authentic, o yung tinatawag nilang pagkatotoo. Di ba? Lagi natin sinasabi, magpakatotoo ka naman dyan. Ayan. So, there is a theory by Mr. Irving Goffman stating that self-presentation is equal to a stage performance. Social interaction may be likened to the theater, he says, and people in everyday life are like actors on a stage, each playing a variety of roles. Then the audience, yung taong nanonood sa kanila, consists of individuals who observe the role playing and react to performances. In social interaction, like theatrical performances, there is what they call a front stage region where the actors are on stage. Ito po yung nakikita o yung nakikita ng ibang tao sa atin o yung pinapakita natin sa ibang tao, no? And then their consciousness, so we are conscious na naririnig tayo, nakikita tayo ng ibang tao, and then yung ibang tao niyan may expectations sila sa atin. So we are playing according to the expectations we want to set or the expectations that people have of us. And then there is another region called the backstage, where individuals can relax, be themselves, and the role or identify that they play when they are in front of others. So this is what I was talking about, the front stage behavior. The world is a stage. Ayan, nakikita nyo si Kuya. Sa picture, talagang arms open wide, di ba? Most people, consciously or unconsciously, behave somewhat differently as their professional selves versus their private or intimate selves. So ito yung tinatawag natin, ito yung pinapakita natin sa ibang tao. Okay? And then this is what we call the backstage behavior. Ika nga, what we do when no one is looking. Tingnan nyo si Kuya, relax na, may drink pa siyang hawak-hawak, nakangiti, nakatawa. People are often more relaxed and comfortable when backstage. They let their guard down and behave in ways that reflect their uninhibited or true selves. Okay, I'm going on to the next slide. Oh, okay. So, front stage behavior, di ba? Yun yung kung ano yung pinapakita natin sa tao. And then backstage behavior is kung ano yung totoong tayo. And for example, how we behave and how we carry ourselves at work versus kung paano naman tayo sa bahay, sa mga kasama natin, sa mga kasambahay natin, sa mga pamilya natin or mga roommates natin. That is our, more or less what you call our true selves, no? Because no one is watching. So, for effective self-presentation, babalik ulit tayo dun sa aking first slide, which is the social-emotional learning. With social-emotional learning, basically, like what I said earlier, there are 5 takeaways. And these are the questions that you should be asking yourself, no? In our introspection. What are my strengths and weaknesses? Pakatotoo lang tayo, di ba? So, maganda rin na inaalam natin or iniisip natin kung saan tayo baka nagkukulang or saan tayo magaling na maiaahon natin ng mga kapwa natin dahil magaling tayo sa bagay na yan. And then social awareness is ito na yung pakikibaka mo sa mga kasama mo, mga katunggali mo. How well do I get along with and collaborate with others? Especially now during the pandemic, for creatives like me, we have always been in a world of collaboration, but especially now that the world has changed, especially digitally because of the pandemic, we have had to collaborate with more and more partners in the hope of stepping up into the digital age. So how do we get along and collaborate with others? Pag-isipan po natin yan. And then, number 3, napaka-importante nito, responsible decision-making. Do I make good choices? Siyempre, hindi naman lagi, di ba? But we are always training ourselves. We are always trying to step up and make ourselves better. If you didn't make a good choice, what could have been the better choice? Of course, I'm also saying don't beat yourself up about it. Pag-isipan lang and then really hope for the best next time na baka mai-apply mo na yung napag-isipan mo. And then self-management. Am I in control of myself? Di ba? Karamihan, lalo na ngayong pandemya, stress na stress ang tao, maraming nahihirapan, maraming mga challenges. There are a lot of things that we are not used to, that we have to get used to now because this is what we call the new normal. Am I in control of myself? It's never 100%, but at least in being aware, we are really trying to get better. And then with relationship skills, am I able to maintain healthy relationships? And the word that's important here is maintain. Lahat naman tayo, we have relationships that make us happy, that make us productive, that allow us to create, but maintaining them is the key. Yan. Okay. Good evening to all. Marian, AJ, Madaran, good evening. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. So, talking about self-presentation, ako naman po ang magpe-present sa inyo. Allow me to share a project that I am very excited about. This is my dream project for my startup, Amador Creative Concepts. It's called Broken Threads. And this year, I will be traveling to Mindanao to start conducting workshops and filming. And I'm hoping to touch base with our kababayans doon and to discover and see more of our beautiful country. Kaya kung may mga kamag-anak po kayo or kaibigan sa Mindanao, nako, excited na po akong makarating dyan. So Broken Threads is a 3-part offering. We aim to represent Philippine indigenous people's identity on the world stage. At the same time, offer NGOs like yourselves and corporations with a high media value project and significantly impact indigenous people's communities directly by teaching them applied theater and documenting its effects for human infrastructure building and sustainability. So what are the 3 projects? The first one is a one-woman play about Lumad women weavers, and I'm hoping to premiere this at the world's foremost fringe festival, the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. If not this year, if things are more open, then in 2023. And then the second part of the project is to conduct, this is what I'm doing this year, applied theater workshops called Sagip Kultura in our Lumad communities in Mindanao. I have partnered with the ABS-CBN Foundation. This was still pre-pandemic, and we are hoping to revive the project. So I'm very, very excited to be going to that part of the country. And while I am doing the theater workshops, we will also be shooting a documentary film about the impact and application of theater workshops in the Lumad community. So you may ask me, why am I doing this 3-part project? For the one-woman play, worldwide po, audiences are wanting in culturally enriching content from Southeast Asia, and that is proven with research. For the second, conducting the applied theater workshops, corporations and NGOs are always looking for impactful corporate social responsibility projects to achieve social development goals. And the third one, shooting the documentary film, indigenous people po need help in preserving, documenting, and nurturing their culture. So I would very much like to give them the tools to tell their own stories in their own way. So Amador Creative Concepts is a mission-based consultancy with strong corporate social responsibility values and social development goals aligned with all our projects. Okay, and then I'd also like to mention that this session came to fruition in partnership with Amador Creative Concepts and House Health and Wellness Solutions, which is a mobile application ready for download in the Philippines and abroad, catering to OFWs abroad. You can continue your care and book a medical appointment for your loved ones in the Philippines. You can choose a teleconsult, a house call, or a clinic visit. Once you have a teleconsult, you can have the ability to join the actual consultation with the patient, the doctor, and other family members. So this would be very, very helpful. Ngayon na may surge ngayon ng Omicron, you can now monitor the consultations of your family members here in the Philippines. And for post-consultation patients, they can get what is needed. They can get an e-prescription, an e-lab request, an e-medical certificate, pre and post-vaccination clearance. Also, together with Amador Creative Concepts, Health and Wellness Solutions is excited to serve you through these wellness series as our primary response to the Mental Health Act released by DOLE. And so that comes to an end, my presentation for today. I'm on all these social media platforms. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Laika at Pinky Amador or at Amador Creative Concepts. And I'm also just recently on TikTok and on YouTube, and that is at Pinky Amador Official. So now I would like to open the floor to any questions you may have. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much for that very impressive very impressive presentation. It's very, very helpful. And I'm still trying to think of the answers of some of the questions that you had actually earlier. Di ba? Sabi ko, what is one thing that I can do to meet my emotional needs? Or sabi ko, what is that kaya? So, I think, I don't know whether, I don't know. I think some people know what they need, but I think I still don't know what really will comfort me. I mean, besides having your family around you, what is that other specific thing that can comfort us, for example? So may mga ganun pang mga questions. But yes, thank you so much. And we're open for questions. And anyone who has questions, please just send your question through the Zoom chat. Or if you want to voice it out, just raise your hand.
Tita Millie, I'd also like to greet yung mga nanonood po sa Facebook. Helen Enot Manlavi, good evening po. And Marian AJ Madarang, good evening to all. Madarang Reyes, yan. Good evening. Shout out po sa inyo. Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, thank you. I see a question though from That's the Top in Neri. How to avoid toxic friends?
Yes, ang hirap, di ba? Well, like I said earlier, baka pwedeng sabihin in a very gentle way na meron kang ibang kailangan pagtuunan ng pansin. Which I think naman it's a little understandable given the situation that the whole world is in, right? I have a question here in our chat. What would be your technique when you start to take up a new role? Ayan, nako kasi nga nagtuturo ako ng acting, right? So if you allow me to answer the question, I like to teach acting in a very holistic manner. I like to concentrate in 3 areas, meaning the physical, the body, the voice, because you need that to act or to sing, and also the mind and heart. I use the mind and heart as one because you need to engage. You need to engage your emotions and your thoughts into the character that you're playing. So first of all, I tell my students to make themselves physically prepared, to be able to warm up physically, to be able to warm up vocally, but mentally and emotionally, they have to do research into the character, research about the story, research about the director, what kind of films or movies do they like doing. Diba? Hindi yung chismisan ha. This is research talaga. Alamin natin, sino ba yung mga makakatrabaho natin? Ano yung mga expectations nila sa atin as an actor and as a performer or as the character? What are their expectations? Does this role, do you need to have a physical background? Are you going to have to do a lot of, for example, martial arts for the role? Do you have to have ballistic training? Do you have to learn how to use a gun? Di ba may mga role na ganyan, di ba? Do you have to, is it a very emotional role? Okay, I have another question. I hope that answered your question. So research and know who you are working with, and always try to put yourself, be open to change, be open to learning new things, because you're going to be collaborating. And as I said at the very start of our session, it's always good to imagine to create a safe space between you and your co-workers or the people that you surround yourself with. It should always be a safe space so that you can create. Diba? It's so hard kasi to create when you're very tense or when you're very stressed, although some people end up doing that. But it's always best if you're creating a safe space of trust with each other. Okay, I have another question here. What would be your tip po for our OFWs in terms of improving their interaction in a place different from Philippine culture? Yan, parang artista ka rin. Kailangan alamin mo, ano ba yung kulturang kinalalagyan mo? Is it rude for you to put your elbows on the table, for example? Is it rude for you? Would they consider it rude for you, for example, to eat with your hands? Because tayo, mga Pilipino tayo, we sometimes pag sarap na sarap tayo, we like to eat with our hands, and that is something that culturally is part of us. But in other cultures, 'di ba, bilang OFW, naging OFW din po ako. The time that I was in London, I was an OFW for 2.5 years. Nag-sign po ako sa POEA, so I know exactly the feeling. I know what it's like to be alone in a country with no relatives. I know what it's like to have a lot of pressure from you for your job, 'di ba? Alamin natin ano ba yung kultura natin, maging curious tayo. Maging hindi lang curious, para tayong detective. It's like, it's almost as if I were an actress, if I'm researching my character, kayo bilang OFW, kailangan i-research nyo rin, ano ba itong trabahong pinasukan ko? Ano ba yung expectations sa akin ng mga boss ko, ng mga colleagues ko, ng mga kasama ko sa dorm, or kasama ko sa ba? Ano ba yung expectations? Kanya-kanya ba kaming hugas ng plato? Kanya-kanya ba kaming laban ng damit? Or one day, isang tao lang ang maghuhugas? May request for recommended books or the like to be references to guide us with respect to your resourceful. Yes, of course, I will give this to you. Allow me to send it, reply to you on Facebook. Sir John Rosado, thank you for the so many tips and tricks on how to get through the gray areas of the interaction of self-awareness with social interaction. Ang daming learnings and takeaways. Yay! Thank you po. Thank you so much. Okay, so John, I owe you a list of, I will put all the references that I got this presentation from. Obviously, I didn't come up with all these myself. I did a lot of research, and I have been trying to apply a lot of these things myself. Syempre, as we say, we're always a work in progress, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So yon. Okay, I'm just checking if I answered. Oh, there's another question here. Being an actress, what questions do you ask yourself when you study a character you are portraying, which can help us understand ourselves or have self-awareness? Because yes, Sir Edward, they are so intertwined. When I research a role, basically, I always tell my students this, there are 10 basic questions that you ask yourself.
Okay.
Who am I? Ayan, who am I? Who are you? Who is the character? Anong pangalan niya? Ilang taon na siya? Ano yung gusto niya? Ano yung hindi niya gusto? And then the second question is, where am I? Anong bansa ito? Anong part ng bahay ito? Nakaupo ba siya? Nakatayo? Diba? When is it? Kailan to nangyayari? Is it present day? Kasi sometimes some stories happen in the past or in the future, right? And so the way we behave or the way we carry ourselves depends where we are. The way we carry ourselves at work is different from where we would carry ourselves at the beach or in the playground with our children, for example. So who you are, when is it, where you are, and then objectives. Ano ba yung objective mo? Ano yung hinahanap ng character mo? Or for in your case, what are you hoping to achieve? What are your wants and dreams, right? And then the next thing is, how do you go about getting these wants and dreams? And then another question would be, what would happen if you didn't get your objective? Why is it important to get your objective now? Kasi normally, pag in a dramatic situation, di ba, it's always, there's always a conflict between one character and another. One character wants something, the other character wants something else. No, magbabangayan yung dalawang yan. Di ba? What is it you want? What is at stake? And then another question you can ask yourself is, what will happen if I don't get what I want now? Diba? Now, kasi kailangan mo, gusto mong makuha ngayon eh. Ano yung kailangan, what is at stake? Ano yung hindi, pag hindi mo nagawa yun or nakuha yun, ano mangyayari sa'yo? Ba? So yun, I hope some of those were able to help you. Thank you. Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Sir Edward. Okay.
Parang wala akong, may follow-up.
May follow-up. Follow-up with regards to effective self-presentation. What are your thoughts in the saying, fake it till you make it? Minsan, kailangan nating gawin. Di ba? Minsan talaga, I mean, not all the time, obviously, but I think there are some opportunities that you have to. We all have to present something, di ba? Or what if kailangan, or it might not kasi be the opportune time to be authentic. We're all for authenticity, of course, but there's also such a thing as timing and consideration for the other people that you are working with, the other people that you are dealing with, or the other people that are also helping you reach your objective, di ba? Faking it till making it, I'm all for it. Why not? Not all the time though, sometimes. Tsaka nakakatulong din kasi yan sa self-confidence, di ba? When you have an experience where you faked it, I wouldn't call it faking it. I would just say, linalakasan mo lang yung loob mo. Di ba? Trying to be solution-based rather than problem-based. Yeah? Sana Yes, Tita Minnie?
Parang managing your emotions. That's why you try to fake it, di ba?
Yes. Yes, of course. Of course. Ayan. Uy, wala pa po tayong Zoom photo op.
Oh,
The mini. Oo, may collection kasi ako. All my webinars, meron talaga akong album.
We will do one. So yung mga po nasa Zoom, wag po kayo aalis. Miss Pinky, he would like to have a photo with all of us.
Yes,
so,
please. Ayan, Miss Mary Ann, Miss Jen, Sir Edward, Miss Cecil, Miss Mindy. Ayan. Of course. Sir Ranveer, Maria.
Any question from Attorney Ranveer? By the way, sorry, I put you on the spot. Nandiyan ba siya?
Sayang wala ako sa Zoom. Oo nga, Sir John. Okay.
Saka yeah. Okay. Earlier, ako na lang sorry, ako na lang two questions, sir. Excuse me. Earlier, I did mention na as you know, there was one time a video kan naging viral. Well, I think it was brought to our attention, but I would like to hear from you how you see the whole episode in terms of self-awareness and self-preservation. So could you describe what happened? Kasi may mga tanong dyan ayaw magtanong. So anyway, I'm bringing it up. So
that I'm all for it. Well, certainly self-preservation was at the forefront of my actions. We were all trying to preserve our health because at the time we were not informed that we were a quarantine facility, and certainly at the time that they accepted the travelers, we were not yet certified. And so that's why a lot of, not just me actually, a lot of the people who, let me give you a little background, because this is a condotel. So there's half condominium and half hotel. So we, however, majority po are condominium owners and tenants. So the way I would look at it, of course, it's a learning experience. And syempre moving forward, hopefully we now have a better relationship with the building management, right? And in fact, I think a lot of the residents had forwarded the issue to the Department of Tourism, and they had taken action. So for our part, so klaro na po yun on our part. And certainly for me naman, ika nga, and I've said this before, I will not let myself be defined by one low moment, right? I mean, I know it. There's really so much more that to me than uh, a leaked viral video, right? There's more, and certainly, obviously, there were also circumstances in that video that it was actually a little set up and provoked. But moving forward, we're hoping that our building can now start electing officers to represent the homeowners association. Hopefully moving forward, we've made representation towards that. And of course, if we have proper representation kasi with the building management, then there is a venue for dialogue. And like everything, having a venue for dialogue is really the most important, diba? That's how you can actually move on and create solutions, right? Ayan.
Okay, thank you so much. Kasi yeah, but it's understandable when that was like the height of COVID. There was no vaccine yet. No one knew
No
what
vaccine,
was
no
happening.
testing, no nothing
And
at the
it's all
time.
about
Yeah.
you just hear about people dying. So it's yeah, it's understandable. I could have done worse. Sorry.
Tita.
So you never know, when you're about to, when you think that your life is at stake, then we have the survival instinct, and you'll do what you can do to survive. It's just like fake it until you make it, kind of.
Well, I certainly wasn't faking it then, but I did make it.
So yeah, that's good to hear, and I hope everyone can understand what happened. Because sometimes you just hear a small strip of what really happened, and that colors the whole
Nako, Tita
episode.
Mimi, don't worry, magbablog po ako tungkol dyan. Full vlog. Pero sa ngayon kasi I'm so busy with so many other things that help so many other people. Tsaka ako na lang pagtutuunan ng pansin. Actually, magto 2 years anniversary na siya nitong June. Maybe by then, I will have the energy and focus to actually do a tell-all. But at the moment, I'm actually pretty busy with a lot of creative projects. And I'm really, really looking forward to 2022 po. And thank you again, Philippine Bayanihan Society Singapore, for having me. Maraming salamat, and the people on our Facebook Live po and here in Zoom, maraming salamat po.
No, thank you. May tanong, Marian is from Davao City is asking when you're going to Davao.
I'm from Davao. Mary Ann, ay talaga. Are you in? Oh, wow, how nice. Hopefully in the summer po. If not summer, baka nga medyo maulan na June, July, pero paplanuhin po namin kasi at the moment kasi yung medyo may mga restrictions tayo, di ba?
Yes.
So, tsaka may election pa tayo ng May. So maybe a little after that po.
Okay.
Baka June, July, August. Hopefully nandun po kayo. And then we also have to coordinate kasi with the local government unit po kung saan po kami mag-workshop. Tapos kung sino-sino po yung mag-a-attend. And of course, there's going to be kasi a change in administration. Baka locally, baka magkaroon ng change ng administration dun sa mga LGU namin. So I think we have to wait till that happens and people are, settled and are in place, especially sa LGU po. Kasi yun po yung magiging kausap po na.
Okay.
Okay. So I think that's the last question or inquiry that we have. So before you go, let me just do quickly my bits of information that I have to share with everyone. So thank you so much, Miss Pinky. You just started a good year for us. Lively discussion, robust discussion, at least very interactive, at ang daming takeaways. I can have a long list. So wag muna. Thank you so much. And then before we end the webinar, there's some bits of information and announcements that I have to share with everyone about our Bayanihan Society. Thank you again. If you are interested, if anyone there has any topic or suggested project that you have in mind, please recommend it to us and email us at bayanihancenter@singnet.com.sg or call 64743700. So please send po mga suggestions niyo so we can have a good speaker, as good as Miss Pinky, if possible. Baka pwede siyang bumalik. We don't know.
Why not?
Why not?
Why
Yes. So please like also our Facebook. We have a Facebook page, facebook.com/Bayanihan Society SG. And then also we have an Instagram at Bayanihan Society SG. Also, we do have YouTube. Yeah, may YouTube na rin kami. So if you want to look at past webinars, di ba? Although, mabagal pa rin. But yes, we do have YouTube. So please, if you want to look at all the past webinars, nandun po sa YouTube channel namin. And then of course, since we are an NGO, with non-profit, any support, we will greatly appreciate. Maybe do pwede po sponsorship or just basic donations. So please continue to support us even just by joining us here at the webinar. So we do welcome all those things. Thank you again for joining us today. So just to let you know, our next webinar is next month. Next month in February, that's February 3rd or 3. But the topic to be determined yet, we will let you know, all of you. So thank you again for joining us today. And again, our gratitude to Ms. Pinky Amador and her Amador Creative Concepts and Powerhouse for sharing her with us. Sino po, ang Powerhouse po kasi ang she works with them, so that's how we managed to have Miss Pinky tonight. So thank you so much. And please, so yung mga po nasa Zoom, wag po kayo nga alis muna. So before we end, so on behalf of the board and staff of the Philippine Bayanihan Society Singapore, I say thank you. Thank you, everyone, and see you at the next webinar. Good night po. Thank you.
Sure, picture. Thank you.